Hi everybody, it's Chaplain Ken again. I hope you're all doing well today. I thought I would spend a couple of minutes sharing with you a story about Jesus and his disciples from Mark's Gospel. Mark tells us that Jesus had been preaching and teaching for an entire day, and he gets toward the end of the day and he tells a parable to the disciples. The parable is about how God's kingdom grows. Jesus says to him, the kingdom of God grows in ways similar to how a mustard seed grows. Now, mustard seed is just a tiny seed, but when it's fully grown, it becomes a huge bush. And Jesus says the kingdom of God grows very similarly. Jesus finishes up with a parable, and then he asks the disciples to get into a boat with him to go across the Sea of Galilee. And they do. They all get in a boat and they head off across the Sea of Galilee. Jesus is exhausted. He lays down on a cushion in the boat and he goes to sleep. No sooner is he asleep than a storm arises on the sea. The rain is falling, the waves are crashing, the boat begins to fill up with water. Things go from bad to worse. Have you ever had a time in your life like that, where things kind of go from bad to worse? You know the old Morton Salt saying, when it rains, it pours. Well, I think most of us have had times in our lives like that. I think our world is having a time like that right now. For the disciples, things were going from bad to worse. It was nighttime. They were out on the sea. They were in the middle of a storm. The boat was filling up with water, and Jesus is asleep on a cushion. How does somebody sleep through a storm like that? I have no idea, because that's not something that I could do. All I could think of is that Jesus must have been incredibly tired, maybe wore out from a day of preaching and teaching. As a last resort, the disciples go and they awaken Jesus. Now they awaken him with some accusing words. They say to him, "Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing?" You know, some people might look at our world today and wonder, where is God in all that's going on? They might even wonder, does God even care? Why does God allow tragedy and sickness, plague and destruction? You know, what the disciples failed to realize is the same thing that some people fail to realize today. That God is there and that he cares so much, he's in the boat with us. Well, Jesus calms the sea with just a few simple words. He says to the sea, "Peace, be still." Now, Jesus said that to the storm, but those words were just as necessary for the disciples. The disciples needed peace. They also needed to be still and know that God was with them in the boat. Jesus acknowledges to the disciples their need for greater faith to get them through the storm. Greater faith to believe that God was in the boat with them. Well, we find ourselves in the middle of a storm right now, and we need greater faith too. Faith that God is in the storm of this coronavirus with us and that he'll get us through it. My prayer for you, for me, for all of us is that our faith in God will increase during this storm. So until the next time, God bless you.